Welcome back to Boredom Sated. I am Michael,
I'm Boris.
and today we're discussing a creature of legend, something that has been at the nightmares of parties since first edition. That is the deadly Armageddon machine, the Apocalypse machine, the Apocalypse engine, the Armageddon engine. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
The Tarrasque.
Yes. I I it's one of those creatures that as your character advances, always want to fight, but then when you look at the stats, you really go, why did they make it like this?
Now you and I have both played World of Warcraft.
Yes.
This is one of those bosses where you need a whole raid for not just one group. You need a raid.
I
You
I
need
I
four
don't
groups, I think. Like
I
50.
don't know if even you can get enough people for the Pathfinder 2 version playing.
I don't know. That might be an incredible idea. It's like you have like you go on one of these digital platforms. You get in touch with like two or three dungeon masters. Like, hey, you guys high enough level to go after a Tarrasque?
Yeah.
Let's try it. Let's run it. It's very simple. It's a valley. You guys start at certain ends, and let's see who wins or who survives.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
So, as always, our this is our comparison video, and we will be comparing the Pathfinder 2 Tarrasque versus the fifth edition Dungeons and Dragons Tarrasque, which is much easier.
yeah. Let's start with the fifth edition one because
Okay.
that's where the Tarrasque begins in Dungeons and Dragons.
Right.
So
Yes.
in the fifth edition version of the Tarrasque, he's a CR30. So he's like at the top of the line. He is
The
the
food chain. Yeah.
food chain as well. The CR30 with a ridiculous amount of experience you get for it, but whatever.
Right.
Uh, as far as I like to go defensive before go offensive. Let's go with what he
Okay.
doesn't effective. Let's go with
Right.
immunities. Okay. So under his damage immunities, he's immune to fire, poison, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks. But that's not
Right.
really that impressive considering that a lot of monsters have like immunities to.
Right.
They require by this level they all require like magic of some kind.
Magical
Yeah.
weapons. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And which party is actually going to be having is actually going to be saying,
Non-magical
you know,
weapons.
I don't think I'm going to use my +5 Vorpal Avenger. I'll use this.
Well, they
I'll
don't
use this
plus
one.
3, but yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
His condition immunities are charmed, frightening, paralysis, and poisoned. So
Yeah.
you can't even poison him.
No. Yeah, that's true. Though. Well, he's already has damage. Well, I don't know why they put it twice. I guess because poison also brings on a condition in fifth edition. That's
Right,
right.
right. Yeah.
Now, some of the things. Of course, he's a legendary creature, so he should have legendary resistances, which he does. 3 times a day, he can make a failed saving throw, a successful one automatically. Okay,
Yes.
that should be he should have. And also, he has magic resistance, which just manifests that he has advantage on all saving throws. Pretty much.
Right.
At least
Now,
spells, the magical
now,
effects.
now we go into the reflective carapace,
Yes.
uh, which is the only thing in the game other than a brooch of protection that stops magic missiles.
I know. Out of all the spells, that's like, you know what? The magic
Yeah.
missile spell is one deadly spell when you hit that level. Let's
We
have
gotta
some.
stop that. We gotta specifically stop that. We don't care about anything else. We gotta name it by name and stop it.
It's the only one. Yeah, I'm like, really,
Yeah.
guys? You don't want to just give him a shield, a small shield, shield spell? He can't be hurt by a magic missile, damn it. Like, all right, fine. God, you might as well use a spitball on him. That's how useful it is. All right.
Right.
So, his reflective carapace in the fifth edition one has it so he's immune to magic missile, line spells, which basically are like stuff like lightning bolts,
Right.
and or spells that require range attack rolls, which is a lot
Yes.
of the cantrips.
Yes.
Uh, and this one, he doesn't have to make a saving throw. The DM rolls a 1d6 or d6. On a 1 to 5, it just bounces off. On a 6, it reflects back against the caster. So it's
Yep.
it's a nice a little cravat there. He also
Right.
has something called Siege Monster. This one means he does double damage to objects and structures. Okay, fair enough.
Well, in case you bring the instant fortress, trying to.
Of course. See, that might be a valid tactic. Have one of you,
Yes.
someone with the instant fortress, volunteer to be swallowed whole by this thing, and then activate the fortress. It's like, oh, I hope
Yes.
this works, and not hopefully be crushed by the fortress and his
Right.
acidic gut. But no. So the Tarrasque. Let's go to the Tarrasque for the Pathfinder. Okay, in the same thing.
Well,
What do you
okay.
want?
But, I
Well,
mean,
I'm comparing defenses, and then we'll go over offenses.
I just want to make a couple of comments. So, first of all, armor class of 25 isn't that bad. That means with magic weapons, you need about 12, I think, to hit it.
Yeah, not counting flanking. Is that
Yeah,
25?
yeah, yeah,
Other
yeah,
tactics
yeah.
as well. Yeah, okay.
So, which isn't that bad. And the reason I'm saying that is because it'll matter when we go to the Pathfinder 2 version.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, its hit points is 676, and it has what's its regeneration?
It doesn't have one.
It doesn't have regeneration.
Yeah.
So if you can deal out 676 points of damage, you will defeat this, which is very, very important to say before we go to the Pathfinder 2e.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So let's go with the Pathfinder defenses. All right.
yes,
Now, as far as immunities, this thing is immune to acid, clumsy. So clumsy basically means you reduce their dexterity and AC. That's
right,
important, especially with this thing's high armor class. Disease, drained, enfeebled, mental, paralyzed, persistent damage, petrified, poisoned, polymorph, and stupefied.
so
It
pretty much
also
every.
what?
They should have just said all.
Yeah,
Would have
pretty
been
much.
easier. They would
Um,
have saved space.
I know. You can't. It's also resistant to fire 25. And another interesting thing is it's physical 25.
Right.
Physical 25 means all physical attacks, from weapons, claws, unarmed attacks, all that. But
Yeah.
unlike most other creatures, it doesn't have anything that bypasses it. Not
Right.
silver, not cold iron, not adamantine, not magic weapons. It's just a
Right.
flat
Right.
25 damage reduction that you can't get past.
Right.
Now, on top of that, it has less hit points than the fifth edition Tarrasque, but
But that's because it
it
regenerates.
regenerates 50. That's the highest regeneration in the game. Yeah.
so
And
so
again, go ahead.
so pretty much if you're the only one attacking it, like you're the fighter that charged in,
Yeah,
you better be doing more than 75 points of damage in a round because otherwise
it's not
you're
going to.
not even a flea.
Yeah. And the scary part of this regeneration, just like the physical part of 25, which you can't get past, is you can't stop this regeneration.
Yep.
Other creatures like trolls, fire
I,
stops it.
I
Acid
said
stops
that yeah,
it.
stops it.
There's no parentheses saying this stops it. There's no attack that can stop it. So it's regenerating no matter what.
Right.
Defensively, that would be formidable enough. However, let's go to the
Right.
wonderful carapace. This is one of its
Right.
defining features. Now, for the Tarrasque, it's immune to cones, so now you can use cone of coal against it.
Right.
Lines, rays, and it goes magic missile. Yes, because magic missile is so freaking devastating in both editions, in both two different games. It has to
Right.
be unlocked.
Yes.
They just bounce harmlessly off.
At least it's not reflected
Ah,
back at you.
that would be. Unfortunately, it can be. So now, so the Tarrasque has 3 reactions a turn. Okay,
Yes.
one includes attack of opportunities, but it also has the reflect option. If
Yes.
if an effect that the Tarrasque carapace occurs to it, if someone casts one of those spells against it, it can reflect it as a reflex, as a reaction. So it doesn't get that random. It just simply says, "You cast magic missile to me, die," and all the magic missiles will come back to you, haunt you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
So that is basically its defenses. Oh, and there's one other thing. Um, it has an inexorable, which basically means at the end of every one of its turns, it loses all of the slow and stun conditions. So you have to, yeah. So that's tough to slow it down. And it's immune
Right.
to any penalty to its speed, and it ignores difficult terrain and greater difficult terrain. So it's
Yes.
nearly impossible to stop this thing or impede it in any way, shape, or
Well,
form.
slow it down. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
it automatically recovers and just keep going.
And if that wasn't enough, it gets three um,
Yeah,
attacks of opportunities
yeah,
that it can use against you
yeah,
based upon what's going on. When
yeah.
you don't want to be swallowed by it.
Yeah. Well, let's go
And
back. Let's go back to the Tarrasque in
well, hold on.
offensive
We
ability.
want to mention the AC. The
Oh,
AC for this is 54, which
yes,
means a fighter at 20th with a magic weapon will need a 16 to hit it.
yes. That's also assuming the fighter has, and they should have, an apex item, something
Yes.
that increases his strength to 24 at least.
Or,
So
yeah. Yeah.
the fighter is
So
in the in Pathfinder 2 system. The fighter is the best striker. He's the one who has the highest chance of hitting anybody because his weapon
right.
skill goes up to legendary, whereas everybody else
Right.
goes up to only.
Master. Yep.
So he's a +2 bonus on anybody else, and even
And
he,
needs
again,
a
not
16.
other spell buffs or conditions, needs a 16 on his first hit.
Yes.
So that should tell you how tough this thing is to even
Yes.
hit.
Yep. So let's go back to the
Fifth edition. Yeah.
fifth edition, like you said.
Let's go with his offensive capabilities.
Right.
Now, Terras has always been a melee monster. It's basically like, I guess the nearest equivalent I could say is he's like Dungeons and Dragons Godzilla, a legendary
Right.
creature. Thankfully there's only one off. That if you fight this thing, yeah, you better have a freaking great plan and then a contingency plan, and then maybe another contingency plan because
Right.
yeah, and have some friends that you call in favors from, and maybe an army.
Yep.
And then you can lose half the army at least. So it's basic. It's a melee terror, basically.
Yep.
The fifth edition one definitely brings that to bear by giving it 5 attacks a turn. Normally, creatures have 2, maybe 3 attacks at best. This has 5, including its frightful presence. It can use the frightful presence every single attack if it wants to.
Yeah.
However, once you successfully saved, you're immune to it. But still, if you didn't the first round,
Right.
it'll keep you feared, and that could be rough, extremely rough. Frightful presence, you can literally be running away, and suddenly your party is messed up.
Right.
And
Right.
and I don't think fighters have very good will saves.
Right. And its attack is a plus 19, which means it's going to hit pretty much every single time.
It's gonna plus 19 to hit on every single attack is rough.
Right.
I did a little addition to they did in the stats. It gave you like an average hit damage per attack.
Yep.
Total, if all of them had hit for the fifth edition, it adds up to be about 148 maximum damage around. Now that's pretty devastating. You know, remember that in fifth edition, they don't get maximum hit points like they do in Pathfinder. So
Right.
if you add, I did a little math as well for a fighter, just a fighter, who took the toughness feat and has a constitution of 18. Okay,
Right.
roughly he has about 224 hit points. So 148 is a good chunk. It's almost 2/3 of his hit points in a single thing. Assuming no crits.
You need a lot of barbarians with the damage resistance.
Yeah, you need a lot. Then of course it's one of its most fearsome abilities is Swallow Whole. For this one, if it bites you, it can immediately can do another swallow attempt, which means it immediately gets a bite attack on you, and then you're taking 56 acid damage in its guts.
Yep.
It's 16d6, but they immediately give you a number prefer to take every single turn. Now, this wouldn't be so bad. However, you are blinded and restrained while you're inside there.
Yep.
Blinded means obviously you can't see anything, but restrained is the bad part because number one, you can't move, and number two, you have disadvantage on all checks and attacks. That's annoying enough as is. So if you somehow score critical on it, you're probably not going to score critical on it.
Right.
And it takes 60 points in a single turn. It says in a single turn, you have to do 60 points in order to escape it. And it has a saving throw on top of that.
Right.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
if it
So
fails, it'll regurgitate you, which is the only thing you can really hope for.
right. It's a ridiculous thing to do.
Yeah, you need to have teleportation or something.
Right.
Something like that. Or something
Right.
like that.
Now the Pathfinder 2 has the swallowed, but you're not restrained at least. But you're taking both bludgeoned and acid damage.
Yeah.
So the bludgeoned is 10d6 plus 12, and the acid is 10d6. So you're taking 20d6 plus 12 a turn.
So much better.
But you're not restrained, and the benefit is you only need the rapture is 50 points of damage, not 60.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do as much to escape.
True enough.
And it also gets the multiple attacks. Because of its multiple reactions, it's just a devastating creature. So
the Tarrasque, just to put a dot to that whole thing. It has a destructive frenzy ability, or attack sequence that takes all three of its actions, but it then gets 6 attacks. In any order it wants.
At plus 45. At plus 45. And the paladin, the champion, which is the best armored individual, has a 46 AC. So it hits you on the 1. Well, it misses.
It's not that it's hit. It's when it can crit.
Right.
When you think about it. Crit on at least 11 or 12 on its first attack. I'm like, I don't want this thing being able to crit that on that low enough.
No.
If it bites, just look at its bite. Its bite is its most devastating single damaging attack. It does 5d12 plus 20. I don't want that being 10d12 plus 40. That's horrible.
No, and it improves grabs with the bite. So it's devastating. So the interesting thing though I found with the 5th edition, which gives it a little bit more weakness also. So Pathfinder doesn't have polymorph. 5th edition has polymorph. So if you get enough spellcasters and you hit it with polymorph, the Tarrasque in 5th edition, right? It needs it'll need a 6 to save. So chances are it'll probably save. But if you can get it to fail 4 times, because 3 times it can automatically save. If you can get it to fail 4 times, you can polymorph it into something with less than 100 hit points, and then you power word kill it, and you're done.
Maybe also, but it has advantage on all saving throws. And in 5th edition, is polymorph targeting wisdom or constitution?
It's targeting wisdom.
Wisdom, okay. So its wisdom save is plus 9. So it's not bad. It's got a pretty good save.
Right.
Which is weird considering its wisdom bonus is 0. But there you go. I guess give it plus 9. No, that type of shit will come.
So there is another way to sort of kill it with polymorph in 5th edition. But I have to say, when doing the comparison, the Tarrasque, even though it's 5 CR levels lower than the 5th edition, the Tarrasque in 5th edition is a TPK creature.
I also want to say this as well. The Tarrasque in 5th edition lacks a range attack, whereas that's not the case with the Tarrasque in Pathfinder.
Yeah, it can shoot a spine.
It can shoot a spine for 3d10 plus 20, which is not bad. But it also has the ability to volley a spine for 2 attacks.
Yes.
That is not at a not inconsiderable distance. It's a 120-foot cone, which is pretty damn good.
Yep.
That's almost similar to a dragon's breath weapon in terms of the sheer
Yes.
amount of yeah, and it does also the same amount of damage, 3d10 plus 20. However, and this is the important part, the reflex save against this attack is 53.
You're not
So
saving.
you're going no, it's not just the fact you're not going to save, it's the fact that you have a good chance of critically failing, thus taking
Right.
60 10 plus 40 from
Right.
something that shouldn't have a ranged attack, but it does.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I mean, it's like when you are getting saving throws in the 50s, it's not just making the saving throw, because your saving throws even at highest level are in the plus 30 range, and this
Right.
puts it at least anywhere from 10 to actually more than 10, like 13 to 15 or more beyond it. Not only do you need like pretty much extremely high numbers, but that means the chance you fail of critically failing it increases tremendously. Like a rogue,
Right.
rogue would be like I think the highest they can get is something like, let's see, 10, 20 plus. They get legendaries. That's 28 plus dexterity. That's 7 to 50. That's 30. That's 35. Plus 3, 38. The plus
Yep.
38. That's a rogue. The best saving dexterity
Yeah.
38 versus that's a 15. They need a
Yeah.
15. That means they critically fail on a 1 through 5.
Yep.
That's that's
No, no, it's definitely so. Pretty much the summary of this fifth edition. It's doable, even though it's CR 30 for a 20th level party. It's just going to take a lot of time, and you
yeah.
need to have more than your base number. You probably need 8 to 10 characters to do it with reason.
You're gonna need some traps. You're gonna need to have a very good plan,
Yep.
and yeah, I hate to say it, you might need some expendable targets to the first round, so you
Right.
can get as many hits as possible into it, or
Right.
distraction, illusion.
Whereas the Pathfinder 2, you probably need about 20 characters.
You need a raid. You don't. You need a raid.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
Yeah.
That
And
is
even
what
then it's going to be very difficult
you're
because
gonna have
it
to
could
call.
technically kill a person around and you're
Yeah,
going to need more than 20 rounds to kill it.
yeah. You need to do a tremendous amount of damage consistently in order to
Yes.
take this thing down. 75 is just the minimum just to get its attention. That means you're
Yep.
not doing something. And also,
Right.
you can't stop it. There might be some ways like teleporting or banish or whatever else, but ultimately it is a melee nightmare. And
Yep.
in casters, those who are ranged, they can whittle it down maybe if they can do enough devastating damage to it. But quite honestly, if it's a single party, I have a very tough time um, without some alternate rules and at least one artifact a piece, maybe
Right.
two,
Well, look,
of this thing down.
based upon our 20th level characters, if I see a Tarrasque, I know I cannot run it, so I'm running my monk.
Nice of you. You guys, I love you guys. I was 20 years with you, but you know what? I'll resurrect you. All right. Oh, by the way, bye.
I'll get you. I move 10 feet faster than it later.
How
So,
fast can I cast teleport? Not fast enough. Well, who knows?
not
But
fast
yeah,
enough.
it's definitely a campaign penultimate
Right.
villain, a force of disaster, a force of nature that just simply at the very challenges the very highest of level characters and campaigns.
Yep.
And it's one of those things where you gotta say, all right, we're either gonna win or all of us are not gonna. Maybe one of us maybe get out of the gets
Right.
out of it. But once it gets
Yep.
in the Pathfinder one, once it gets in between you guys or near enough, so I mean it has like a 30-foot range reach with its tail, and 20 feet was. I mean, it has a reach. It has tremendous reach. Once it's
Yep.
there and it has 3 reactions of turn, spell casting, you can't 5 foot step out of its range. Once it's get, I mean, you can, but
Right. Well, I
it's
mean,
pretty
it's
rough.
definitely a legendary creature.
Yeah,
So, um, please subscribe. Please like. Please comment.
yeah.
If there's a way you feel that a party of 8 to 10 could potentially kill it, please write the description. We know it's going to be like probably 18 18 pages long, but go ahead. We're interested in the
And
comment section.
come up with a plan. If you come up with
Yes.
a viable plan in Pathfinder,
Yes.
Dungeons and Dragons Fifth Edition is doable. In Pathfinder, the numbers are so far against you right off the bat.
Right.
It's not even funny. But if you have a plan, put it down. Heck with it. We'd love to read it. All
We
right.
yes, we would like to see what would happen. So thank you very much. I'm Boris.
I'm Michael.
We'll talk to you later.